Hey guys, so here's the deal. For the past month or so, Jesse has been gone and I have been running this entire shindig on my own. Don't worry, by the time this video is live, he'll be back. But I wanted to make a video about the experience because if you're planning on starting a homestead with your spouse, it's only a matter of time before one of you is left on the property solo. Now in our case, we do still have ties in Oregon, which is the state where we moved from. Jesse just listed his house on the market, and he's there giving it a little bit of TLC in hopes of a quick sale. Not only do we still have some ties in Oregon, but both of our families live out of state. So one of us leaving on our own, we knew was a matter of when, not if. So regardless of what could possibly pull one of us away from the property for an extended period of time, from day one, we tried to design things in a way that I especially could take care of things on my own, at least my day-to-day needs. Otherwise, I would be completely helpless. So something some of you may not know, Jesse is actually an off-grid superhero. Yes, they exist. No, please don't go look it up to prove me wrong. Jesse was born with the superpower of making the off-grid life work for him. He's really great at problem solving. He's really great with equipment and machines and tools and wiring, things like that. Okay, he wasn't born knowing it, but he has a lot of life experience in all of those categories, and I don't. I, on the other hand, am an off-grid superhero in training. While Jesse walked into this crazy adventure with all sorts of knowledge that he's acquired over the year that have been really helpful, I, on the other hand, have some book smarts, but that's about it. I don't have a lot of experience and I'm not as strong as Jesse, so overall things are a little more difficult for me. So not only have I had to do a lot of catching up and learning and observing over the past year, we also set things up purposefully so that they were a little bit easier for me to manage. Good thing the neighbors didn't come by when I was filming that. That would have been awkward. Like awkward turtle. Or awkward arm. Maybe even awkward palm tree. Yes, awkward palm tree. It's a thing. So what are some examples and how did all that pan out the past month? Let me show you. First up, water. When we first moved off-grid, we didn't have an elaborate water setup. We were simply bringing water into our property every few days or so, and we decided to go with these 6-gallon jugs because they were easy for both of us to lift. Not only do we have to lift them in and out of the car, but we also had to lift and hold while it drained into the RV water tank, so this worked really well for either one of us. The first time Jesse was gone, we had this water system and I survived just fine and had no injuries. We've since upgraded to a slightly more elaborate water setup, and we do have a video about it, so I'm not going to go into detail in this video, but in a nutshell, we have a large cistern at the top of our hill, and we take this 250-gallon IBC container into town to fill it up. While this is slightly on the larger side, I am able to get it in and out of our trailer without a problem. So there you go, water, piece of cake. Next up is power. Before we had our solar system set up, we were relying on this generator to keep our RV battery topped off. We knew we wanted a 3,000 watt generator, however, most of them are pretty heavy, maybe 120 to 150 pounds, and I don't care who you are, that's a lot of weight for one person to lift, and we don't want to risk injury. So we decided to go with this Honda Handy model. It's a lot more compact, and I think it's somewhere between 60 and 70 pounds. So yes, that's still heavy, but I am able to lift it without risking injury. Not only that, but it also has a built-in wheel kit, so I can pull it beside me. Kind of like walking a dog, which minimizes the amount of lifting that I need to do. Perfect. Now that we have our solar power system set up, we don't use the generator as much. However, I know enough about our system to know when I need to fire this bad boy up to top off our batteries, such as when we have many days in a row of clouds. Next, transportation. If Jesse leaves the property for a length of time, chances are he's taken the Subaru. Just because it gets better gas mileage and it's a little bit more reliable driving long distances. This time he did take the truck, but that definitely won't always be the case. That said, we both feel that it's important that I have a set of wheels I can drive confidently in his absence. Now you country girls and country boys will probably laugh at me, but I don't have a lot of experience driving a stick shift. That said, I try to get behind the wheel of the truck every chance I get to practice those skills so that if I'm in need, I can confidently get where I need to go. If whoever's watching this video, you know who you are, doesn't know how to drive a stick shift, if you get the opportunity to learn, take it. It's a really great skill to have under your belt. Now this is a tarp. Just kidding. Well, it is a tarp. But under it is our four-wheeler. And like with most things on our property, our four-wheeler has personality. That said, I have enough experience with it to get it to fire up most of the time, even if it's being moody, like a teenager. I'm able to do minor property work, drag things around, and also it's one more way I could run to the neighbor's house or even into town if I need to. And I like knowing that I have a couple of options. Another thing to note, kind of along the same lines as water, is propane. While they do make much larger propane tanks, we find that this size is something I'm comfortable carrying around when it's full. Which means when I run out of propane, I can go get more easily. So when Jesse's away, what kind of fun do I have? Well, I make things like this disappear quickly. Just kidding. I'm not at the point yet where I'm comfortable taking on large construction type projects or property development projects when Jesse's gone. That said, there are some things that I can do to make serious progress. One of the things I discovered this trip is how to go to the butcher to get free leftover bones to make bone broth or stock, whatever you prefer to call it. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while because I believe homemade stock is a lot healthier than anything you could buy in the store, and there's a significant cost savings. So by learning this skill now, I feel like I'm not only helping us to eat better over winter, but I'm also increasing the quality of our health. Not only that, but I decided to learn how to use the pressure canner. It's something that I've been putting off for a while now, and I decided now is the time. In a nutshell, I've been taking all this delicious broth and canning it for later. This is a skill that I feel will benefit us greatly down the road, such as when we start hunting, or if we find another really great source of meat, or even veggies, now we know what to do with it. Another thing I've been doing is running around town and the neighbor's yard, gathering ingredients for our compost pile, and I made this guy behind me. This is something that's really great for one person to do, and it's something that I think can really help strengthen the soil of our garden next year. I also got wind that my friends were going to be butchering their very first deer, so naturally, I invited myself over to watch. I watched the entire deer butchering process, which was extremely educational, and that's something that I feel will really help us out next year, again, when we learn to hunt or come across some other great opportunities. They also sent me home with a little scrap meat for the kitty. Turns out, Kitty loves deer meat. One of the things Jesse was wanting me to work on in his absence was the floor plan for our house. He's been working a lot on the footprint and the framework, but he really wanted me to dial in the floor plan to make sure that his ideas were going to work for us and our future plans. So I decided to make my way over to the library where I can get oodles and oodles of books for free, and I picked up these 3 gems. While I had a pretty good floor plan going into this, there were some things that I was stuck on, and in the end, it wasn't really speaking to me, and I felt that I could do more with it. So by looking through these books, I was able to get some ideas, especially ideas for designing in small spaces, and also just look at some beautiful timber framery and cabinetry to kind of remind myself what we're going after. Sometimes it seems that we're really far away from achieving that goal, but we are getting there one step at a time. So that's what the last month has looked like on our homestead. The important thing to note is that I'm well fed, I have a roof over my head, I'm happy, I'm warm, and nothing caught on fire. Yes! I'd like to think if we didn't do all this pre-planning for me running this place on my own, it could have been a lot worse. If you're thinking of starting a homestead, I hope this video gives you a little bit of inspiration for how to make your property more than manageable by one person. Especially us ladies. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about the development of our off-grid property, then go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, feel free to check out our blog. It's purelivingforlife.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and we post on there almost on a daily basis. Everything is linked to below this video. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.